God. This is Prophetess Rivers with another word, another message. Today I want to talk to everyone about waiting for Mr. Right. Well, while you're waiting for Mr. Right, you need to make sure that you got it right or that you're getting it together. Today I want to talk about the story about Ruth. Now, you have to understand that Ruth, she lost her husband, she lost her brother-in-law, and then she lost her father, all within, I believe, 1 year. Now, she could have left and went back to her homeland, but she decided to stay with her mother-in-law, which was Naomi, and she began to work in a field. And back then, the custom was that whoever that you're married to, one of their kinmen, was to marry you. Now, it was Boaz, and it was another man. The other man, I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember his name. It's sad to say, but I don't remember his name. I'm gonna keep it real. And then the other man was Boaz. But you have to understand that while she was waiting on Mr. Right, she was making sure that she had it together and that she was getting it together. She was working in the field, not just for herself, but actually for her mother-in-law as well, because her mother-in-law was up in age. While she was catching the grain and everything, working in the field from sun up to sun down, Boaz began to notice that stuff. And while Boaz began to notice that stuff, he began to inquire about her, saying, who is this lady? And of course, you got other women that was hating, oh, that's Naomi's daughter-in-law, blah, 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 blah. But never once did she let that get to her. She still continued to make sure that she was getting it together. So what am I saying? There's a lot of people that are out here that sit up there and be like, oh, I want a man that got a car. I want a man that got a good bank account. Okay, but what are you bringing to the table? You want him to make sure that he has this, and that, and all the other stuff, but you need to make sure that you have something as well. You want him to have something in his bank account. Don't have a negative balance in your bank account. You want to make sure that he have a car. Okay, you need to make sure that you know how to cook, that you wash clothes, and so forth. I'm not sitting up here knocking nobody, but what I'm saying is that if you want somebody to reach the requirements, then you need to meet those requirements as well. Now, like I said, with Naomi was her mother-in-law. Ruth was obedient to Naomi to the point where Naomi told her exactly what she needed to do to get Boaz, what the fragrances she needed to wear, and you know how she needed to lay at his bed, at the bottom of his bed, and everything, and to silence herself until he got ready to say something to her. So what am I saying about that as well? When a godly person gives you godly counsel on what you need to do to get something, then you need to take in what they're saying, because that's wisdom. She didn't go out and do it on her own and say, well, I don't need to listen to this person. This person don't know what they're saying. She was obedient to what her mother-in-law said, all the way to the point where she was able to give him. Don't get so caught up in thinking that you know everything to the point where you don't, 60 years from now, you ain't got nobody. Anybody can get a man, but only the wise are able to keep a man. Any fool can get married, but only the wise know how to stay married. So if you're looking for Mr. Right, make sure that you got it together as well. Because you want him to do this, you make sure that you got your stuff together as well. Now, the question of the week is, do I feel that both spouses should be on the bank account? Yes, I do believe that both spouses should be on the bank accounts. You shouldn't be hiding a bank account from this person. Now, having emergency money, then yeah, that's a different story, because I have emergency money when it comes to me and my husband. And I pull out that emergency money when it's emergency time, not for emergency hair or a new pair of shoes or a new pair of J's or something for him. It's for an emergency. Now, I also believe that whoever has more sense when it comes to taking care of the business, like paying bills and everything, should be the person in charge of the finances. That doesn't mean that you're over the finances completely and this person can't touch the finances, or they don't know how much is in the account, because then that's not of God. You both need to know what's in the account, but whichever one knows how to deal with the finances should be the one that's in charge of it. Because just because I can count or I know how to do this, my husband might know how to do something else better than me. That doesn't mean that we don't know what's going on. We both know what's going on at the same time, but there's only one that could be gifted in the area. Do I believe that you both should be on the same account? Yes. Do I believe that there should only be one in charge of this stuff? I believe so that there's no division or anything. Remember, I love you, God love you, and all that you do, give God the honor, glory, and praise. To God be the glory.